Hello everyone, I am Wanjira Moreidi of WINENJIRU Exclusives. We are bringing to you a series of conversations with WINENJIRU featuring stakeholders in the Kenyan wines and spirits industry. I'm very excited today to have one of my favorite students, in fact he calls me Mwalem in his deep baritone, Kelvin Wanjira. Welcome Kelvin Wanjira, we are honored to have you with us.
It's a pleasure, as always, as usual, to see you. Yeah.
Kelvin is a very detailed-oriented person. In fact, if you give him a task, he will call you 3 times to confirm it. And I used to say if there's a week that goes by without receiving 2 phone calls from Kelvin, then really I'm in deep trouble. But Kelvin, jokes aside, we met a long time ago in Karen at the Tamarind.
Yes.
Do you remember that day?
I remember.
Tell me about it.
I was a junior or a novice in the wine industry. Was it the year 2014? Towards the end of 2014, we were doing a tasting for one of the big brands here, and I met Wanjiru. I was trying to explain to her. She was giving me this cheeky smile. Little did I know that I was talking to a wine expert. Yeah, I hope I didn't stammer and bullshit, if I can use that word. Sorry. But it's been quite a journey, and that's how my journey started in wine.
In wine.
With tastings, going out, talking to wine people, and then I remember we had a follow-up meeting after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it was one of those meetings that I didn't even think you would remember me.
Yeah.
But then, I wasn't a wine expert there, to be honest, but let's not argue about that. It was a meeting that we both remembered, and it was the start of a great relationship.
Yeah.
But then before Kevin, the wine guy, the wine master, WINENJIRU, tell us about your background.
My background is in marketing. I'm a marketer by profession. I've studied mass communication, and I did international certified management. So marketing was my thing. So I've worked in many agencies as an advertiser, as a marketer guy, and in 2014, a month like this, I quit my job. I had enough of agency life. So I went to my boss and I told her, I call it quits. So people thought I had been poached by other people, by other agencies, by other companies, but that was not the case. I'd just been tired. So fast forward 3 months after is when I got into wine. But my background is in marketing. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what brought you into wine? You know, this thing that people talk about that is snobbish, it's not accessible. What brought you to the industry?
So I've told this story a million times.
Let's hear it again. You haven't
I
told
mind.
it on this platform.
So the story is, there's this friend of mine, she was our client at the agency. So she used to give me a bit of gigs here and there. Her name is Agnes. So there's this particular Saturday she called me and said, Kelvin, there's a youth talk happening somewhere at Adams Arcade, in one of those offices, and I would like you to come and just share insights on marketing, advertising, and the likes. So I didn't know it was happening at another agency. So when I gave the talk, then there's this American lady who was running the agency. She said, there's something mentor that I've picked from you, and I'd like us to have a conversation. So what are you all about? What are you doing now? I said, no, I'm just in between finding myself and just rearranging my career. And she told me, it was on a Saturday, so she told me, come and meet me on Tuesday. So when I went to meet on Tuesday, she told me there's this client that is coming on board and they deal with wines. I said, wines? No. I'm not a wine guy, because prior to that, I was a beer drinker, at times brandy drinker. Like I was just someone who was enjoying drinks. I never read too much into the details of the alcohol I was taking. Got the job. Went for an orientation at Parkland Sports Club. There was a sales lady who was giving a talk there, and all I could hear was Malo, Chardonnay, Cabernet. Went back to the office, told her, now that the boss, I think we need to change my brands. Give me spirits, because the client had spirits, and then please let the ladies who've come on board handle the wines. I said, no, Kelvin, just keep at it. So I kept at it. Second orientation, that orientation, started getting that interest. They saw my passion, and that's how it started. And then they flew me down to SA for studies.
They flew you down to South Africa
South
for
Africa.
further stages on the wine.
On the wines,
Okay.
just to get the knowledge, the know-how. So
All
it was
right.
not like a qualification, sort of, but worked in a winery, did a bit of visits, worked with the winemakers, just to grasp. I came back a changed man.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if we can go back a bit,
Yes.
what was the work you were doing with the agencies before this wine client came up? What products were you selling?
I had many clients. I had Unga clients, there was Capwell, there was the Marathon. I was the one handling the Standard Chartered Marathon for about 6 years. There was Norda, there was so many other clients that I was handling. And I remember all of them, or many.
Okay, so-
a bit of insurance companies. So I was handling their accounts at the agency.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
And here you are now. You've gotten past the Malo Chardonnay business.
Yes.
You've gone to South Africa, spent time in a wine farm. What
Yeah.
wine farm was that?
Many. So mainstay was at Nederberg, of course, because
Yes.
that was a client. I did JC Leroux, I did Durbanville, and quite and other small boutique farms just to visit and to get the know-how. I
Yeah.
did the house of JC Leroux as well. Sorry, Van Rhines.
Okay.
Just to have a grasp on
Okay.
brandy. One
So such a great opportunity to get you into this business.
Yeah.
You are very lucky to have gone really early.
Yes.
People need to wait some years before they get
Yes.
actually access
Yeah.
into those kinds of experiences.
Yes.
Okay. Then what happened after that, after working for the agency?
The wine agency now.
The wine agency, yes.
I had been there for a while. Then I started making a name for myself. People started knocking doors. So doors started opening. So I got poached by Wines of the World, Wow Beverages, and they placed an offer that I could not resist to be their senior wines brand manager because they had seen the stuff I was doing in the market and the kind of strategies I was pulling. So they came knocking and I could not resist. So 2 years after joining the agency, I had to let them go. Yeah. So fast forward, worked for Wow, but the deal at Wow, they sort of made me an office person. I wanted to be an outdoor person.
Okay.
So I went back and knocked at the door had closed.
Okay.
Yeah, and they welcomed me back to finish what I had started. So went back to the Distel group, and I'm still there now as their consultant.
Okay.
Yeah, so I came from employment to full-time consultancy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what do you mean that you're not an office person? Because there has to be some paperwork and someone who does
Yes.
the background work. You can't always be client-facing,
Yes.
talking to people.
So
So how do you find that balance?
at the agency, I was a brand manager right before when I joined the wine business. So I graduated from an account manager at the agency before wines. So when I got into wines, I was given a portfolio of the wines to handle and became a brand manager. So crunching numbers, working on strategies, and doing a bit of trainings. So it's the trainings that got me thinking, hey, this is the thing for me. And I feel like I need to be out.
Yeah.
So much so that my boss then, Jerry, said, we've seen the trajectory of this guy and we need to reduce his roles in the office. So just go into the office, crunch a few numbers, do a bit of presentations, and then bounce. So I would spend the whole week training, maybe 2 days or a day in the office. Yeah, that was my passion.
Okay.
And it's still my passion up to date.
All right.
Yeah.
So you're not an agency man now.
Yeah.
You're an independent consultant providing services to the wine space.
Yes.
You've worked with an agency. You've also worked directly with an importer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So what is that like? What do you call your organization, institution, and
Yeah.
maybe give us some breakdown of the services you provide?
Okay, so for the government's sake,
Very important.
yeah, for the government's sake. So let me just, before I answer, let me tell you a story of how this
Okay.
happened. So while at the agency before wine, so this agency was brainwave. As I was venturing out, I needed to have an identity. So because guys were coming and giving me jobs on the side, so I needed to have an identity and
An identity, not an entity.
not an entity. So
entity
I
is an
needed to call-
organization, but this is identity, persona.
an entity. So an entity. So people knew Kelvin, but when it came to billing, I was not compliant.
Okay.
So I realized, this government. So to go it solo, you have to be compliant. So this time, I did a gig for someone. They paid, but they said next time you need to have paperwork because now I'm paying you directly from my petty cash and all. So fast forward, I got into the wine business. I did a gig for an individual. They also wanted paperwork, so they gave me a check. So I had done the name Yalagha Solutions. It's Nigerian, so I got it from a friend of mine. I had asked him, what's the one word you can use to say come together, consult? So they told me Yalagha. Okay. So that's how Yalagha was formed. That's the meaning of Yalagha. So I said Yalagha Solutions. So I made it very general. Yeah, because I'm very entrepreneur, so I was doing side hustles for anything, not just wines. So there's this particular lady I did a job for, and she wanted to pay me. So she wrote me a check. And I told her, oh, my company is Yalagha. So she wrote Yalagha. So I couldn't bank it. So I had to go and register Yalagha. So that's how Yalagha was born, officially. So Yalagha was just there in my head, nowhere in the government things. So to answer you, so Yalagha Solutions was born, and it's there till date. So I work with suppliers, I work with porters, I work with restaurants, I work with quite a number of players that surround wines. Yeah.
Okay, so training.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So my passion till date is training. So people know me as the guy who just comes around and talks about wines. And so I'll train waiters. I'll give talks at events. I'll give talks at baby showers, bridal showers, birthdays. I'll do wait staff training just to elevate their skill set. I prefer more and more talking to wait staff because I see quite a number of them have grown through me because you inspire, yeah, and it entails you having the right qualification, and probably we'll get there, and that's how now I decided to do WSET, Wines and Spirits Education Trust, up to the level I'm at now, just to add on to my skill and to my knowledge. Yeah.
So you train both wait staff and you also customize training for people who just want something for the day.
Yes, for individuals.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else do you do under Yalagha?
And Yalagha, so Yalagha also does, so there's Yalagha the wine person, Kelvin
Yalagha the individual, right?
The individual, the people know Kelvin.
Yes.
So carries the Yalagha, and there's Yalagha Wines and Spirits. So that's a business I opened on the side.
So that's a physical store?
That's a physical store.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where
So in where I live. So this store is one I use to get product for people who, guys will send me particular wines, and I'll tell them, oh, there's this wine I know, or there's this new wine in the market. So when I'm billing them, I'll bill them through Yalagha Solutions. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Entity.
So that's the entity.
Yeah.
Fine. So how long has that been, and what process did you go through to talk about this? You've touched on regulation.
Yeah.
Right. So even your individual clients required you to have registered a business for the service you are providing for them.
Yeah.
And the wines and spirits shop, what was the kind of regulatory environment around that?
So
if I want to start one tomorrow and call it WINENJIRU shop, I have found a location.
Yeah.
What do I do?
Yalagha Solutions. So when I was in between transitioning from WOW to back to Distel, there wasn't much work to do, because you're given a schedule. So I realized I had 3 days. So I was asking myself, what do I do in these 3 days? So my wife and I decided to open up shop, and it was in 2017. That's when I opened the shop. 2017, around mid-2017, around June, July. I remember it was election time. So I opened the shop in Pipeline because there were numbers. So I looked at numbers. So what it entails is you have to have a permit, single business permit, and you have to have liquor license. You have to have health certificates, fire certificates. So the liquor license is 50,000 Kenya shillings. If the law passes, there's a motion in the county for it to be halved, to be slashed to half. Then you have to have a single business permit, it goes for 46,500, a fire permit, and advertising permit. It entails, so you have to have about 120,000 to get all licensing. And then product
before
is
you
expensive.
start, or on an annual basis?
Annual.
Annually, okay.
So when you're starting, it's hard. So 120, and then you have to have money for capital for stock. So based on the size of your shop and the clientele you'll have, alcohol is expensive. We bought stock, or I think $500,000 when we were starting. We thought we were robbed, because you look at the boxes, they're like 10 boxes for like $500,000. Like, what is this? You know, going through receipts in the house, just, you know, did we get everything? Alcohol is expensive. Yeah. So that's how Yalagha, the shop, was born. It's still there today, just to supplement on income. Yeah. And it acts as my office as well.
Okay.
Yeah. When I have a free day, that's why I sit and I do my day-to-day.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. 2017 was an election year, so it's amazing how people decide to start businesses within COVID, in election year when things seem uncertain for others, but clearly it is still operational in this new election cycle as well.
Even with COVID?
And do them with COVID, great. So how do you decide what kind of portfolio to have in your shop? Were there any particular preferences or strategic decisions you made about what you stock? Or were you open to anybody who could do business with you? Yeah,
so my background in marketing now enabled me to study the market. And so when I started in Pipeline, I had a bit of everything, but some were more than others. So they, what we call quarters, the 250 ml brands were more, because that kind of clientele does not have disposable income. They want something that is affordable, something to go and enjoy in the house. These are stuff that used to cost 120 to 170, 200. So that was the clientele in Pipeline. So when I moved the business to Buruburu, things changed. So you get disposable income. So you realize people are asking for much more expensive brands than you had to stock. So it all depends with the location, determines what to stock.
Okay.
Yeah. And also your capital determines what to stock, and also what is moving, what's the trend. So you'll find, like now, gin is all the rave in the country.
Wow.
Yeah, so gin is all the rave, so you can't afford not to have gin. There are many brands that are coming up, but you stock up to a certain level. Whiskey, I would say, is what is consumed most, and beer. So wine is just a percentage of what we sell. Right now, gin is because it's all the rave after Corona. Yeah, but before, whiskey and beer takes the number one share.
All right. So Pipeline was a lower income area.
Lower income area.
So you used to stock smaller sized SKUs.
Yes.
When you moved to Buruburu, there is more disposable income.
Yeah.
So you've expanded your range.
And there was a turnaround now.
And there was a turnaround.
The ask was different.
Yeah. So out of your portfolio in your shop, what percentage is wines, for example? You said it's little.
Very little.
It's 10% or less?
I'd say I only have like 3 brands. The usual, 4th Street, Drosti's, Cellar Cask, for cousins.
Okay.
Yeah, I tried bringing some Italian, some nice SA wines. It didn't work.
It didn't work, even in the new location.
Yeah, even in the new location, they're just gathering dust. That goes to show that understanding of wine is still seen as a high-end brand, because you'd bring a very high-end whiskey and people will still buy.
Okay.
So the whiskey probably is where is positioning or marketing.
Okay.
Because the Glenfiddich, a booze that is even 12K, 15K,
still
people will still buy.
So whiskey is what percentage of your store?
I would say 20%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Beer?
Then beer, I would say about 35%.
Okay.
Yeah, because now beer is quite a range.
Yes.
From breweries. Then there's a bit of brandy, like about 15.
The gin?
Then there's the gin. Gin now we have to up, and then the rest.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Is it possible to give us a range of, say, if we were to ask you, what is the value of the portfolio you have now? You've mentioned you started with 500,000, which should be about $5,000, thereabouts. If you just give us a range, you don't have to give us an exact number, the range of stock you have in your new shop now that has grown over the 5 years.
To be honest, times have been hard, so I'd say, if I do a proper calculation, I'd say about 400K.
So it's
value.
Lower. The
it's
value is lower than before.
Because now we're being more careful, even with the stocking. Before we just stock up, you know. Right now we have to crunch numbers and stock up properly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a huge lesson.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So before
you were in a lower income area, you had more value stock.
Yes, when you started.
Now you're in a higher income area, and you actually
so we
then
focus.
have
Let's just say it's more focused. So nowadays I'll bring what is on demand I have clients who call me and place an order, so some will never even get to the shop. So that's what I'm saying now, I'm focused. So the rest of the remaining stock in the shop is what I will sell during the day.
Okay.
But I deal now with more of deliveries, guys will order on the side.
Okay.
Yeah. And then sorry to cut you short, this has become a bit more infiltrated, this business, after COVID. Everyone is opening a small shop, some are not licensed. So you find in an estate, like in my estate, we're about 7 shops.
Wow.
Yeah, so it becomes a problem as well. Yeah, saturation is a thing now. Yeah, wines and spirits are all over. The whole of the estate, I think we're about 120 wines and spirits. And before we were like 10, 20. The whole estate from phase 1 to phase 5. So you can imagine.
Wow.
Yeah, it becomes saturated. So you have to learn your clientele, you have to focus, and you have to bring the right product. And by right, I also mean right and legit. Yeah, there's also the element of the product not being of the right quality.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Tell us a bit more about that. Is it that it's a bad product, or people are providing
Illicit, so they'll buy from
illicit?
Kariobangi. It doesn't have the right stickers, the KRA stickers. That's why KRA keeps on changing stickers.
Okay.
From brown to like beige, now they have blue, just to control. And I'm glad that we have inspections. People will come. There's a multi-agency that comes around just to do checks and all.
Okay.
Yeah. So you just have to have the right product, and you have to buy it from the right people. So if it's Diageo products, buy them from an agent from Diageo. If it's Qual brands, buy them from a licensed supplier of Qual. Yeah. That's the only way to survive, because alcohol, if you get it wrong, people move from your shop. Yeah. If there's only one case, people start moving from your shop because people talk.
Okay.
Yeah.
So clearly there is a lot to be considered in terms of competition.
Yes.
You're talking about saturation.
Yeah.
So how do you think your business will evolve, say, in the next 5 years? Is there perhaps a way to merge your training side with your shop? Because it's kind of ironical. You're the one training
Yeah.
people to move, to have new image about wine, to
Yeah.
understand wine better. But you're saying in my shop, wine is the least because people don't know, and yet you're the
Yeah.
teacher,
Yeah.
right? So perhaps what are some of your plans for the future?
There are a few clients who know what I do. They've seen me maybe in the media or in the trade. So those are the ones who will come and ask me for brands that are a bit high end. And by high end, I don't mean very expensive, but at least proper wines. The vision was for me to open up a place in Buru, the shopping center. I'd seen a nice place. I wanted to do something a bit high end, but the clientele now is a problem. Because someone started something similar, it didn't work because of the understanding. People will still view wine at another level.
Sorry.
At another level. So, in as much as I talk to people about wine at the shop. The wine, they'll only probably buy it for a girlfriend, a wife. So the clientele is divided into gender. So male always sticks to beer and spirits. Gender is more gin and maybe flavored gin and ciders and RTD, any other RTD, and RTDs are ready to drink.
Ready to drink drinks.
Drinks,
okay.
yeah, and light beers. So that's how it's segmented. Wine becomes a bit niche. There's only so much you can do at that particular place here. So we are trying to elevate the standard, but we're not there yet. Remember, I had told you I had brought Italian wines, nice South African wines. I tried to stock up, but I was just gathering dust. I'll talk to people and tell them, I'm this and this and this. Try and show them who I am, sell my CV, but they'll still not buy the story. Then they believe in wines that sell from a certain range, 800 to 1,000, not more than. Yeah. To them, is about money, not value. Yeah, because someone wants to buy like 2-3 bottles. So if you tell them a wine bottle is 1,200, they'll calculate it and they're saying it's going to buy me like 2 bottles of wine.
Okay. On the other side of your business,
Yeah.
now the training side,
Yes.
what are the prospects and what are your plans for the next few years?
So I had gone to the Lions Den.
I was wondering when that would come up. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah. So through my network, someone told me, Kelvin, come and just participate in this thing, you may never know. And I had passion, so I wanted to have an academy, and I still do. So I went to the Lions Den, and my future is to have an academy, just a local academy, where guys can come in and just get basic, very basic skills to help them. Because I'm seeing, even at my restaurant where, and we'll get to that, where I'm consulting, the wine knowledge is at an all-time low. Even opening a wine becomes a problem for a waiter.
Opening a wine bottle.
A wine bottle, yeah, becomes a problem for a waiter. Very things that we take for granted, yeah, to someone that's a task. So I would like to start from that level. Yeah, I've been talking to high-end restaurants and hotels, but since COVID, I think because of the pay cuts and all, they've lost quite a number of good staff. So they have trainees, yeah, people on contracts. So these are the guys who've not been to any kind of training.
Yes.
Yeah. However basic. Yeah. Salespeople have not reached out to them. So the training is more brand oriented, not etiquette of wine. Yeah. And that's my key focus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what happened at the Lions Den?
So,
Did the academy materialize?
We're still in talks with my lioness.
Okay.
But it was successful. So through the Lions Den, someone at the Ministry of Education, the TVET agency, heard about me, and they called me for a meeting. We sat down and we did a wine curriculum. Yeah, they just guided me and told me that's how you do a wine curriculum as per government standards. Yeah, even before you decide to do an academy,
Yes.
you have the right procedures. Yeah, so they asked me what wine entailed, so we structured it, and they said that's how you do a curriculum. If you were to go teach and certify anybody, that's how it's done. Yeah, so I'd say it was successful because it put me in the limelight.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it puts you in the limelight, and now there's actually a physical product that can be utilized
Yes.
and taken to scale, which is a
Yes.
wine curriculum,
Wine curriculum.
that you have developed. I
Yes.
don't think that has ever been done by anybody.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So have you done anything with the curriculum? Is there any institutions that you have worked with to provide the wine curriculum to different people?
Not yet. So the last phase is to sit with Kenya National Qualifications Authority.
Okay.
I haven't done that.
Yeah.
Deliberately so because I haven't gotten a class that wants to be certified. But talks are underway, so I want to. So the next phase of my training life is to get that qualification
Great.
done.
Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it'll be all thanks to you
Yes,
having that
so that
curriculum
at least
done.
you can give some form of certification, yeah, for a waiter to say, I passed through a wine class.
A wine course.
A wine course. Yeah, the waiters really want that. It doesn't need to be international. They just want something that says,
certification, yeah.
I passed through a wine course.
Yeah. I guess it's important to put in context the qualifications available in the country right
Yes,
now.
yeah.
Because if you do a hospitality course or culinary course with an institution,
Yeah.
there is of course a bit of food and beverage that maybe focuses on spirits mainly, not
Yeah.
necessarily wine, even though wine is touched on. And I've seen some of that curriculum is very, very basic.
Yeah.
Right? On the other high end, there is then now the Wines and Spirits Education Trust
Yes,
curriculum,
yes.
or like the Cape Wine Academy curriculum.
Yep.
The Wines and Spirits is based out of the UK.
Yeah.
Cape Wine Academy is based out of South Africa. But again, Wines and Spirits is available in the country, but even the process of getting the license to provide the course took a long time,
Yeah.
and the courses are quite expensive.
Yeah.
You're thinking about level 1 at $250 per
Yeah.
person for 1 day, and then about $700 for level 2. The level 3 going up over $1,000,
Yeah,
right?
we paid I think $1,200.
$1,200, right?
Yeah.
And that was again very special circumstances,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So the need for local curriculum is of course very, very important.
And yeah, I almost forgot. So to answer you properly, so I attached myself to Boma because I'd been doing a bit of just rehearsals for them. So I sold them the idea of WSET, but it proved to be a bit high in terms of how they would have scaled it to the students. So that's how my curriculum came into play. But I just told them how to run around. So I wanted my curriculum to be attached to an institution.
Yes.
That was easier.
Yes.
In fact, the Kenya National Qualification Authority were telling me that is easier to do. So you're not the certifying body, but the institution is,
Yes.
because it is TVET accredited.
And it's already
Yeah.
providing courses that are
An executive
complementary.
course, yes,
Yes, okay.
So the student does not come out with a wine qualification per se, but through that course, the hospitality course, they are certified.
They're certified in a way.
There's so many ways to kill a rat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then again, you
Yeah.
have wine qualifications. Tell
Yes,
us about that.
yeah. So I was yearning and I was hungry for, and despite the costs, I really saved up to do level 2 because I felt like these generals, army generals, I wanted to be branded with
Yes,
something.
with something.
I didn't want to tell people I am this. I wanted to be branded with something. And I would see the likes of you with those qualifications. I would be, envious, and I would be like, wow, this is me in a couple of years. So, and I remember you pushed me and you told me, no, it's always good to have something in your bag. So I saved for it. I did level 2 and excelled. Then I realized it's not enough. I was very skeptic about doing level 3 because of the rumor surrounding it, that it's difficult. Yeah, and it is. It is. But I took up the challenge. Thank God for COVID. We got enough time to study. Yeah, because we were going to do the course in a span of a month or 2. And thank God for COVID, I had enough ample time to study. And I had suppliers who really helped me get the right product at a good rate. Yeah. So right now I'm a level 3 certified sommelier.
Level
Yeah.
WSET,
WSET,
level 3
3
certified sommelier.
sommelier.
I am waiting for you to get your educator's course,
Yeah,
right? So that you
yeah.
can be part of the teaching fraternity.
Yes, yes.
But again, very, very well done. I
Yeah,
mean,
thank you.
you're talking about having 2 months to study.
Yeah.
The course can actually take place in a week.
Yeah.
So you were indeed very lucky to be
Yeah.
part of that. And I guess one of the only, 10 or 15
I think about-
certified level 3 WSET sommeliers in the country.
Yeah, I think about no more than 10.
Yes.
By count.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
but-
you're pioneering,
Yes.
on all sides.
And I'm really pushing guys to do it, and I'm telling them it's not difficult. Don't do it for the exam, do it for the skill set. Yeah. So I removed my mind from the exam and I studied the book. Round 1, I got nothing. It was just too much information to grasp. Then I relaxed. So I had a schedule. I would wake up in the morning at 6, study till about 8, then go about my business. Then come home at about 10, study till about 11, then call it a day. Repeat the routine just to grasp the knowledge. Up until when I started buying booze and my wife was like, you better pass. Yeah, and also the time.
This,
I'd come and lock myself in a
this
room.
homework
Yeah.
is costing more than the actual cost.
Yes.
Okay, great stuff. So knowing that qualifications are important and knowing that you've developed a curriculum for local use,
Yeah.
but the reality is a lot of the waiters generally,
Yeah.
it could be a very exploitative place,
Yeah.
number 1, or 2, there is opportunity to structure things better.
Yes.
So tell us about the initiative you're involved in that's trying to solve that problem.
I remember there's a time I was at the course and I was calling you to help me with the pairing, and you said, if you had your level 2, it would guide you, and it's true. It would guide you on what to say and how to do it, so structures. So my dream was everyone needs to be like us, and us I mean the guys who are already certified by WSET. So we started. I had this idea of having an association, a sommeliers association, more so to champion the needs of the wait staff and also to bridge the gap between the consumers, the wait staff in the industry, and the suppliers. So if I go out there and I'm charging a supplier a certain amount of money for a job, am I fair in my own rate card? Are they fair in how much they're paying me? Then for the wait staff, are we setting the right standards? Do you know how to hold glasses? Do you know how to store wine? Do you know how to open wine? Do you know how to serve wine? Do you know how to pair wine with food? Do you have the wine language? So wine does not just happen in a restaurant. Do you understand the economics behind wines? How is wine brought into the country? How long does it take to ship? How do you order? how much do you order? Yeah. What are the varieties? So it's more of harnessing the three, the consumer, the suppliers, and the service people. Yeah. So we are at it. The registration is almost done now. We got all the players in going. So there was just a hitch on the registration with this Safaricom thing the other day, but that's sorted. So we are almost at it. We're getting help from South Africa. I would say a guy called Spencer. He's the current chairman of South African Sommeliers Association.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he's the current chairman. Yeah, and he's helping us with a legal guy as well on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's been really pushing us. We've been having conversations. Let's just say we've been a bit busy. That's not an excuse, but almost there. Yeah, we're setting the ball rolling.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you want to gather sommeliers, and
Yes.
we're using the word sommelier very loosely because sommelier is a wine expert.
Yeah.
So you want to come up with a group
Yeah.
of sommeliers, hopefully people who have had qualifications.
Yes.
And organize together.
Yeah.
There's also, of course, a link to an international institution because there's like the international association. So there's local impact you can do because
Yes.
now, like you said, working with all the people in the value chain.
Yeah.
But then there's also the international connection.
Yeah.
Why is that one important?
It's very important because, and I'll mention our friend Silas, who got a job at the cruise ship. They were very particular. They needed someone with level 2 or level 3. So it eliminated a lot of wait staff who were willing to be on board on the cruise. And because I did I think I did 2 interviews with them. And the way they were structuring the questions was very professional. It was international standards. So they started out with your know-how of wine. So if your know-how is basic, you're disqualified automatically. Yeah. And it's important so that we put Kenya on the map and we be part of the world is now is a village. So we need to be part of the village. We see competition, international competitions, and you're like, wow, we'd like to be part of that. And I remember when our friend Sam Dishu represented us in South Africa. That was quite an inspiration. You didn't know how many people he inspired, many. And people are looking up to us to do the next big thing. And the next big thing would be the association. Yeah, and we need to be at par with the Zims, the South Africans, and the rest of the Ghanaians and the rest of the world.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you participated in competitions yourself.
Yes.
Tell us a bit about that.
Those were tense, and I'm glad that they happened here. I remember one of the competition we did was the first World Cup. That was quite tense, and we were still at a basic level of wine. And that was one of the competitions that really pushed me to now get a proper qualification, to get my know-how going, because it was more South African wine oriented. But now we needed to get a broad understanding of the world wine. Yeah. And I think I got a good grade, but that wasn't enough. It pushed me a lot to do more. And seeing the guys winning and them being taken to SA, going around, it makes you envious. It makes you, a bit jealous. You're like, wow, I would like that to be me. Yeah. So competitions do help. And the industry needs a lot of players. So it is not saturated. It's not saturated, though there are people calling themselves SOMs, and they're not. So we need not haggle over that name. Am I a sommelier? No. Do you have the right fit? Because the guys who don't have certification, but they're well versed in wine. And the guys who are well versed in wine, but they're still not there. So there is a bit of saturation, but the more we produce, the better. Then we can control. As opposed to not producing and not having controls. You'd rather produce more level 2s, level 3s, level 1s, and control, as opposed to not having any qualification and not controlling. That is usually my take.
Yeah.
And I would like us to be 1,000 and something in the country, so that even the government can listen to us and know we exist. Moja ni nguvu, as we say in Swahili.
Yeah. There is actually, it's interesting that you say that about, we want to have this number of people, but and talking about specific saturation, but the reality is a lot of the people running hospitality businesses that are, okay, but even wine businesses and wine companies themselves are not people with qualifications.
Yes.
there's still the business mindset that makes them successful in running, the organization they're running. But yes, they want to hire people who are qualified as well.
Yeah.
So let's maybe take a switch now and go to the ecosystem. So of course, education and sommeliers, the service people, are a critical part, and I think we've spoken a lot about that. But what about the rest of the value chain? Let's talk about importers. Let's talk about the consumers themselves. Let's talk about the other players within. Do we have like enough media, for example, writing about wines and spirits? Maybe you can give us your snapshot of the ecosystem, as I like to call it. How is it? And maybe, is it growing? Are there opportunities there? Is there things that we need to do beyond?
It is. Like right now at Cellar Grill, just started, but it's all the hype now, So I would say the millennials and Nairobians, and not middle class, even the lower middle class, people who have a bit of disposable income, they want to come and have a glass or two at a place and enjoy with friends. So wine is no longer viewed as a sophisticated drink. So it's viewed as not a normal, because people don't say, oh, let's go have a glass of wine. People say, let's go have a drink. Let's go have a beer. But now, whenever wine is on the table, it's in a different forum or a different setup. So I would say we are growing, but we're not there yet, because as I say, I think in the country, the wine market is at 3% of the total alcohol market. So that's not even a scratch of the surface. It's not even the surface yet. But the social scene has elevated the wine scene, because people who are seen to drink wine are seen to be a bit classy. There's that perception, though it's not the reality. Wine can be drunk from the house, from your car, and the fact that wine comes with it with a lot of jargon makes it also people keep at bay. From the wine. I would say there's need to harmonize the suppliers, the owners of a place like this, Cellar Grill, and to hammer. So when you talk about media, does the media understand wine itself? So we need to have, the way we have qualified lawyer journalists, business journalists, we need to have qualified sommeliers. I was watching a documentary the other day on climate change, and in that documentary there was a Spanish wine journalist, a certified one, an Argentinian wine journalist, a UK wine journalist, a certified one. So he's speaking the lingo. He's not asking guys like us about information. No, he knows it. He has everything on the. So we need to start with journalists, because they are key in spreading out the information, and they reach out to people. Whenever you open the lifestyle magazines, people cross over from the wine pages and they go to whiskeys. So there's fascination about how much a whiskey is. But if a bottle of wine is 100K and above Kenya shillings, people will be like, so what's in it? But with whiskey, I think people have gotten there. So we need to get there with wine as well.
What's your favorite wine?
My favorite grape
spirit.
My favorite spirit is Old Mister Brandy Demand. It's very smooth. And Cape Hope. This Cape Hope brandy is 30%. And there's one I drank in SA, Clip Drift. But the top tier one. But unfortunately, it's not here. Cape Hope used to be here. I used to buy quite a number from the supplier. It was limited edition. But those are my favorites. So I'm a brandy guy and a wine guy. My favorite grape is Shiraz. My favorite white wine is Chardonnay. Grape.
Do you want to give us any brands, or you'll just keep it general at Shiraz
very
and
general.
Chardonnay?
So I would say any Shiraz from Australia does it for me. I would say any Chardonnay from America does it for me. Any white wine from South America, Chilean, I've found a love for that destination. And it's a place I'd love to visit. Now I'm not into, and I'm sorry to French suppliers, that on French wines are the best. That is slowly changing, because they're bogged down by rules, but the rest of the world will make wine for the table, not wine for generations. They'll make wine for the table. You'll find very easy drinking Chilean wines and also wines with structure from the same country. So they're making wine for the consumer. not how their grandfathers used to do it. Yeah.
Okay, interesting
Yeah.
perspective. Making
Yeah.
wine for the table and not
Yes.
for
Not for generations.
not for generations. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm sure that can be
It's debatable.
That can be
Yeah.
debatable
Yeah.
upon, but you're ready to put your hook on that.
Yeah.
So Chardonnay and Shiraz
Yeah.
is what he goes by.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting to hear about the curriculum development you've done, being in the Lion's Den and surviving and coming up with the Lioness, and of course, the very, very great thing of the association of sommeliers that you're doing in the country as you continue to build your legacy with the training and with the wine shop.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kelvin.
Karibu.
I know if we were to meet again now at Tamarind,
Yeah.
it would be at a head-and-head on blind tasting competition
Yeah.
for both of us.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure who will win. Right? I'm not sure who will win, but perhaps if you continue to stay with us, we will give you the answer or have a live recording of that duo.
Yeah.
Thank you very much and stay tuned for Conversations with WINENJIRU.
Thank you.
Back to you.